This is the chapter 27 through 28 summary of To Kill a Mockingbird. So we're going to begin with things are beginning to settle down in Maycomb. Although Bob Ewell publicly blames Atticus, he ends up losing his job. And one of the reasons was he was harassing Helen. Link Dees, which was Tom Robinson's old boss, gave Helen a job because clearly she has no one to provide for her anymore. And as she passes, the Ewell's home, because that's the only way she could get to work, Bob Ewell would come and harass her, and which would make the Dees very angry that he was doing that. So that was one of the reasons Bob loses his job, which he blames Atticus for, even though Bob Ewell was the one harassing Helen. The second thing, the story begins to take a turn. The ladies of Maycomb come together and they organize a Halloween pageant. And Scout is involved, and she's actually playing a role of a ham. So she's literally in a costume of a ham, and it's really hard to get in and out of it because it's wired and it's like a cutout of a ham. So in chapter 28, we actually have a massive shift in conflict and the climax of the story, everything. So listen up, because this is probably one of the best parts of the novel. So Atticus and Aunt Alexandra, they don't go to the pageant because they're tired. And Jem agrees to take Scout, and he also agrees to bring her home. On the way there, Cecil Jacobs, because remind you, this is Halloween time, Cecil Jacobs frightens Jem and Scout, and they scream, and get freaked out, so that Halloween spirit is definitely taking place in Maycomb. So, of course, they enjoyed the festivities. There's a lot of things for them to do. So, they go ahead and head home after the pageant, and Scout is leaving very embarrassed because she actually has a late entrance on stage, which really kind of threw off the pageant, so she didn't want to take off her costume. Plus, it's really hard to get in and out of. So they're walking, and Jem's guiding Scout, and as they are walking through back home, they start hearing somebody following them. And at first they think it's Cecil Jacobs trying to scare them again. So they keep walking, and Jem starts to panic. And then all of a sudden, like a fight breaks out, at least according to Scout. She doesn't know what's happening. All she hears is Jem screams, and then all of a sudden there's steel-like arms around her trying to crush her costume, and she's like has no idea. She can't see, she has no idea what's going on. And then all of a sudden somebody pulls the attacker off of her, and she just hears heavy breathing, and she's trying to figure out what has happened. She feels around, and she actually feels a man's stubble, which is facial hair, and was very unsure as to what took place. Finally, she refocuses, and she sees that someone is carrying Jem back to her home. So she gets home, and Aunt Alexandra calls for the doctor, and Atticus calls the sheriff right away. Part 2 of it, just because this is such a long chapter, but it's so great, Scout fears, of course, that Jem is dead, because all she heard was a loud scream, but Aunt Alexandra comforts her and lets her know that she is only unconscious. So she works to Aunt Alexandra works to disentangle Scout from the chicken wire. Dr. Reynolds arrives, and he examines Jem, and Scout and Hecate go into Jem's room. This is where they see the man that has rescued them, and she's never seen him before. And Sheriff Tate, at the end of this chapter, announces that he has found Bob Ewell dead under the tree where Scout and Jem were attacked. So please take the time to read these chapters. These are really great chapters, probably one of the peaks of the book. Please enjoy. Thank you.